Alright, well this is a video for Matt Z. Hi mate, how you doing? I thought I'd just run through the pickup sounds of the RV-60s just in a very clean channel, direct into the amp with just a Vox curly lead. See if I can answer your questions about spikiness that you were getting with the FM3 unit you're using, and I think it might be to do with the differences between digital stuff and analog valve stuff. Anyway, this is really not to protest one thing or the other, but just to give you I'll try and do the best recording I can to give you a reference tone of what I hear, and then maybe you can compare it to what you've got. What I would say is that these pickups are very loud. They're at least as loud as any of the other high-powered pickups that I have, and also the EQ in the Xotic guitars, the wiring, really facilitates being able to turn them down, still get all the tone you want, and then have quite a lot of in-house volume control. So quite often I'm turning them down to say 8 or lower on the volume, and quite often using the tone, the two things together really, to back off. But it really depends what I'm running it into. I don't normally play straight into the amp. I normally play into other pedals and compressors and things, like a Cali 76 compressor and a RC booster would be my kind of clean setup. And that's sort of contrived to control some of the things that I want to control and sweeten up other things. But anyway, this is, hopefully you'll be able to listen to this and compare it to what you're getting and see how to make it work, because everything's always about making everything work really. So this, I'll run through the pickups. Everything's on 10. I was going to put the amp on 3. It's a bit hummy because I've got a computer in the room and it always just does that. And the amp's a bit noisy on this channel as well. Right, so from the neck pick up, and then I'll do the splits and then middle. You'll see. Then if I roll it off a little bit, it's taking everything to 8. Let's go back to the neck. So obviously that's taking the volume down a bit, but if I bring the volume up a bit, it's kind of a bit less of that hot, dynamic picking kind of sound, which is a useful sound when you're trying to overdrive a channel, when you're trying to drive into a distortion or a fuzz or an overdrive and then push the front end of the amp. Neck pickup. I tend to back everything off and set a nice general basic sound, and then that leaves me some headroom to kind of drive up and push things when I need to. Of course, you could just use the volume and leave the tone on 10. Right, so now I'm down on 8 on the volume, and the tone is all the way up. We could go all the way up on the volume, all the way down. Now, hopefully I'm not telling you to suck eggs here at all, but I'm just trying to show you that you can, you know, there's loads of tone, there's plenty of tone there. It's more about reducing things to where you want them to be. And the thing is, after I saw your question, I sat down and plugged in all the other guitars to see if there was anything noticeably different about these pickups to the other ones. So for instance, I've got Joe Barden's in this old Telecaster, and these are horrifically loud, and you almost always have to have them turned down. The RV-60s are nearly as loud. I mean, I don't know what the rating of them is, but it really is they're very loud set of pickups. But they just, you know, the reason I got this guitar was because you could get so many different sounds out of it. And the other question you had was about the B and the E string, and then the lower notes as well. On the amp at the moment, I've got it set 5 and 5 on the treble and the bass, and the mids are in these old Vibroluxes, they come with the mids preset, so you're adjusting the treble and the bass and deciding kind of how that then affects the tone of the mid. So that's pretty flat. I would say almost every normal Strat is a little bit mid. They're always a bit mid heavy. I mean, one of the big selling points of the old Ibanez series was that they were very, very balanced sounding string sets, whereas I would say most Strats are a little bit thicker in the middle strings, you know, a little bit higher output with the middle strings than they are on the edges. So it's not untoward, and I've tried the other Strats, Telly, they're all the same. It's kind of a feature of the design of the guitar. One thing I have started doing is I moved to a thinner plectrum, which I've never played with a thin plectrum my whole life, and I started also playing on the shoulder of the plectrum, which I picked up from a couple other players, and there's something about it, it gives you more voices in the way the plectrum can sound, and also somehow picking lighter but more intensely. sort of gives you a brighter tone, but not too much harsh top end. It's a funny thing, but I do recommend everyone really try playing with a much, this is quite a thin, what is this? Thin tortoise thingy, pink. You'll see these online. There's nothing special about them. It's almost like the pick gets out of the way of the string easier because it's lighter. And I heard someone recently, I can't think the player's name, but he was talking about his approach to putting pressure on the string and then concentrating it in two parts. So you put the pressure with the plectrum and then release. And think of those as two separate actions. This sort of seems to give you a more positive sound. Anyway, gone off on a bit of a tangent there. Let me just try it I'll put it in the reverb channel so you get an idea with it reverb. You see how noisy that first channel is. I don't really know why it's that bad, but hey. It's the bridge, that is pretty hot. Taking it down a little bit. That's the neck full on. All right, I hope that helps. I would say I learned something years ago. I went to a blues jam and it was horrific. I completely sucked. And afterwards, a kind person came up to me and said, "The thing you should do is have the amp up really loud and your guitar down, not on very much, and then use the guitar to get to the sound that you want." Because I'd stood up, there was an amp on. It all went wrong. So that would be my tip, is I think the sounds you want are in the pickups most of the time. It's actually setting it up so that it meets whatever it's trying to play out of. So if it's a valve amp, it's kind of set up to be hitting the amp with a certain set of sounds. And yeah, turn down, try some different stuff. I wouldn't give up on these pickups. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. To me, they're the most incredible pickups I think I've found. So anyway, hope that's helpful. If anyone else sees this, I hope it's helpful for you as well. Okay, keep playing, stay dangerous. See ya.